Hi there, my name is CarmelHauckT. My student number is T00701793. This is my clinic mentor, Roberta. We are going to be putting our paw and hawk bandage onto Shadow today. So I'm going to start by patting her toes with a bit of cotton. So I have just a couple bits of cotton, and I'm going to place one in between each of her toes to prevent rubbing or ulcers. And then she doesn't have an actual wound, so I'm going to pretend that there's a wound right here. And I'm going to be putting a little bit of Telfa as my primary dressing. And then I will get just a couple pieces of tape to hold that down on a couple corners. So that's my primary dressing, and then I'll start with my secondary dressing. So I have just cotton roll here. So I'm going to place it on the top of the foot. And this is my recurrent bandage. So I'm going to come around the side with this pass. And then all the way around to keep it all contained. And with this dressing layer, I am not putting any pressure. I'm just letting it go onto the leg. And now I've arrived at the joint, so I'm going to come up and around this way. And then on my second pass, I'm going to go half the width. And then I'm going to do just one right over that joint. And up the rest of the leg. And I'm going to just rip that there and stick it. And then the second layer of our secondary bandage, we're going to use the stretch gauze. So I'm going to do the same thing where I start with my recurrent bandage, distal, and then I'm going to wrap it spiral up the leg. And again, I don't have very much tension. I'm just letting it roll onto the leg. And then I'm going to spiral around the joint. And I have run out of stretch gauze, so I will get my second roll, which is the 4-inch. So I'm going to finish that figure 8 around the joint. And then continue up the leg. And I'm going to leave just a little bit of the cotton at the very top. And I'm going to put just a little bit of tape to hold down. Stretch gauze. So that was our last secondary layer. And then our tertiary layer, we're going to use vet wrap. So again, we're going to do our recurrent bandage at the very bottom of the foot. And for this, I'm putting just a little bit of tension on the vet wrap. I'm not fully pulling it, so I'll pull a little off the roll to loosen it, and then I'll wrap it at just a little bit of tension. And when we get to the joint, I'll start it here actually. I'm going to go above the joint. and then below the joint. And then back above the joint. And then my final pass is going to go just one layer right over the joint. And then we'll continue up the leg. As well. Now we could put a layer up at the top, but since this is just for demo, I'm just going to show that it's loose enough to slip a finger into, and it's not too loose that it comes off if you tug on it a little bit. And that is my Paw and Hawk bandage. Hello, my name is CarmelHauckT. My student number is T00701793. This is my clinic mentor, Julie. We have Shadow again today. We're going to do her splint. So I did cut her splint to size and fold the excess foam over just as a bit of padding on that rough edge. So I will show that this is the proper fit for her by lining it up with her front leg. So it goes all the way up to that carpus, but there's no excess on the other end. So to start, we'll do our stirrups. So I have a couple pre-measured lengths of tape, and I'm going to put them on the medial and lateral surface of her leg, down the side. And then I'm going to take a tongue depressor just to kind of keep it from sticking to everything as we're going. My leg, thank you. And then I'm going to put my second one on the other side, so the medial side. And then I'll just combine it with my tongue depressor at the bottom here. So those are my stirrups, which we'll use later. Thank you, Julie. Okay, so we are going to start with our cotton roll. So we don't have to do the recurrent bandage when we're doing a splint. We simply start with a spiral. So down close towards the toes, we'll start with our wrap. And we always work distal to proximal. And you just want to go about half of the width of your last roll each time. And she doesn't have an actual fractured leg, so we are going to pretend she has a fractured leg for the video. But you always want to be very gentle as you're bandaging any sore legs. So now I'm getting up to the carpus, so I'm going to do my figure 8 up over that joint. And then I'm going to come back below the joint. Good girl. And then I'm going to go back above the joint, and that's kind of covering my carpus, so it'll go right across. And then I'm going to come back down and do a bit more additional padding all along, just to keep it nice and padded. You kind of want an even amount all the way. And that'll stick to itself there. So this was my secondary layer. We don't have primary layers just because there's no wound to cover. So we started right with the secondary. And then I'm going to switch to my 2-inch stretch gauze. And we are going to do the same. So again, I'm going just about half the width of each rotation up. And I have no tension on this, it's just going on nice and gently. Okay, good girl. Good job, Shadow. And that'll take us almost up to the part, but we do want to keep a little bit here. But I am, since I didn't do my figure 8, just going to start my second roll. So I'm going to take it up over the joint. And then come back below the joint, and then over the joint, under, and then one layer right over the joint. And I will take this back down just for a little additional padding. Perfect. So then I'm gonna bring these stirrups back into play. So I will unpeel them from each other. Good girl.
It's okay, I stay.
I know, good job. Stay, stay.
Good girl.
So these stirrups will come twist up and around.
Okay.
And then go behind to cross. And my stirrups are extra long, so I'm just gonna rip them a bit. So same, I'm gonna twist it back up on itself and cross it with that other one. And then I'll just use my bandage scissors to cut that tape here. So now they're crossed in the back to hold on to that bandage and help support the cast. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to place it into our spoon splint. So that is a good fit. You kind of want it to be flush on all sides with the spoon splint. And then what we'll do with the toes too as well is we're gonna keep the 3rd and 4th digit out so that they can be checked on. So at this point I'll get Julie just to support this so we can take the cast to the leg. So if there was a real fracture, you'd always want to tape above and below it. Like you wouldn't want to tape directly onto the fracture. You'd always want to go distal or proximal to it. And with the tape, you want to put a little bit of tension on it just so that it's staying in the cast. You don't want to have too much give. You want it to be pretty tight in there. And then I think I'll do one way at the top as well. Alright, so now we're going to do our tertiary layer, so that is our vet wrap we're using today. So we're going to start down at the bottom here, and for this we're going to come up and around the actual spoon itself so that we can tuck it in and make a bit of a ledge so that it can stay clean. So I will go around the bottom of it, keeping those toes out again just to check on them. And then we are going to spiral up the leg. And with this I'm putting just a bit of tension on. You don't need as much as with the bandage, but just a bit of tension, about 30%. So I want to leave a little bit of cotton exposed so that I can tape to it. So I am going to put a wide layer of tape just so that it can hold it on a little bit at the top. So I'm going to place it a little bit onto the vet wrap, a little bit onto the gauze, and a little bit onto the fur so that it keeps everything contained. And then you just want to make sure that it's not pinching in here or pulling any fur too tight in her axilla. So that is the splint itself. So I'm gonna do just a little bit on the toes too. I'm gonna make that trap door so that the owners can check it at home and also keep it clean. So I think I'm gonna use a little bit of this for traction on the bottom of the foot. And then with the same tape, I'm gonna make that little trap door. So this way we will have an area where they can check on the toes, but it'll stay clean if they're out on walks and stuff. So this way they can pull that down, check for swelling, check for slippage, and then close it back up. Okay, so now we are going to cut it off. So I will be using my bandage scissors. And I am going to start distal again. So I'm going to slip my fingers in here, slip my bandage scissors in, and then we're just going to snip through the layers. And as I go, I'm going to keep my finger under that bandage, keep my bandage scissors nice tight to the bandage itself so that I'm not in danger of cutting her. I'm just peeling back as I go. So we will peel the cast off of her and take the stirrups. I know it's sticky, girl.
Good girl.
Good job, Shadow.
Good girl.
Excellent. And that was the removal. And this is just a shot of the clean room after we're done.